This is the Dolphin E10 Automatic Robotic Pool Vacuum Cleaner. When I first got my hands on the Dolphin E10, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I'd heard a lot about robotic pool cleaners, but I still had the usual doubts. Would it actually save me time? Or would it just become another gadget that sits around unused after the excitement wears off? Let's start with how the Dolphin E10 looks and feels out of the box. In my opinion, it's got a modern and simple design. Nothing flashy, but it does give off the vibe that it's well built and designed to be practical. The body has smooth, clean lines, and the bright blue and gray color scheme matches the pool look perfectly. It feels surprisingly lightweight at just over 14 pounds, which means I didn't have any trouble moving it around and lifting it in or out of my above-ground pool. I know a lot of pool gear can feel bulky, but the E10 didn't give me that feeling. There's a large, comfortable handle at the top, making it easy to pick up, and the materials feel sturdy and strong enough to last. There's nothing about the housing that feels cheap or flimsy, so that was a relief. One thing I noticed right away was the power cord. It's 12 meters long, so I didn't have to worry about the robot not reaching every corner of my pool. It plugs into a compact power unit, which you just set up by the poolside and plug into any standard outlet. From my experience, the whole setup process was as straightforward as it gets. The instructions are clear, but I honestly think anyone could figure it out, even without the manual. The filter basket is located under a hatch at the top. The top-loading design is super convenient. I can easily take the basket out, dump the debris, give it a quick rinse, and it's good to go. I really appreciate that simple access, since I don't have to deal with flipping the cleaner over or fumbling with awkward clasps. I want to talk a bit about how it works, especially for anyone new to robotic pool cleaners. With the E10, the idea is plug and play. There's no confusing assembly or extra parts. I just plugged it in, pressed the start button, dropped it gently into the water, and watched it settle to the pool floor. The robot is self-propelled, which means it moves on its own, using these heavy-duty tracks that give it solid grip, even on slick pool surfaces. Underneath, you'll see an active scrubber brush. This is where a lot of the cleaning power comes from. The brush spins quickly as the robot moves, scrubbing off dirt, algae, and anything that's been lingering on the pool floor. For someone like me who's battled with manual scrubbing, this is a huge time saver. Once I activated the E10 and let it get to work, I noticed it navigates my pool intelligently. The robot actually scans the pool to plan its route, so it doesn't just bounce around randomly. It steadily covers the pool floor in about an hour and a half. When it runs into a wall or an obstacle, it quickly reverses and heads off in another direction. Sometimes, it does these little wheelies. As the tracks spin in opposite directions, at first I thought something was wrong, but it turns out this is normal for the E10, as it quickly changes direction. What I love most about using the Dolphin E10 is how easy it makes my life as a pool owner. In my opinion, it's perfect for anyone who has an above-ground pool and wants to cut down on the time they spend skimming leaves and scrubbing the pool floor. The active scrubbing technology actually does work. It tackles things like algae stains and stuck-on dirt, not just loose debris. I also appreciate the top-loading filter basket for its convenience. Maintenance is quick, almost effortless. I can clean the filter in less than 2 minutes. It's really just a matter of pulling out the basket, dumping it, rinsing, and putting it back. There's also no need for extra pumps or hoses. The E10 just uses the power from your regular outlet. Another thing that stands out is the weight. Since it's lightweight and not overly bulky, it means I don't dread using it. Getting it in and out of the water is just part of my routine now, instead of feeling like I'm dragging around a lawnmower. Because I have a lot of trees around my pool, I tend to get a lot of leaves and pine needles falling in, and the E10 picks those up, along with fine dirt and even some tiny pebbles that find their way in. But I have to talk about a couple of downsides, too, so it's an honest quick review. The biggest thing, in my opinion, is that the Dolphin E10 only cleans the pool floor. It doesn't climb walls or scrub the waterline. So if you're hoping for a robot that will do the whole pool, including the sides, you might want to look at some of the more advanced models in the Dolphin lineup. For me, it wasn't a huge issue, since most of the debris in my pool ends up on the floor. But if you get a lot of buildup along the pool walls, that's something to keep in mind. There's also the odd wheelie that I mentioned earlier. It can look a bit strange when it's spinning around to change direction, but from my experience, it doesn't actually affect the overall cleaning job. One other thing I want to mention from reading reviews is that a few people have had issues with the power supply failing after a year or so. I haven't run into this myself, but it seems like the company does respond with decent warranty support based on what I've read. Still, it's something to be aware of if you're like me and like to know about any long-term problems before you buy. In conclusion, I'd recommend the Dolphin E10 Automatic Robotic Pool Vacuum Cleaner for anyone looking for an easy, reliable way to keep their above-ground pool clean without much hassle. It's efficient, straightforward to use, and the lightweight build makes it something you'll actually want to use regularly. The active brushing and simple filter maintenance mean my pool is cleaner with less work from me, which is honestly what I've always wanted from a pool cleaner. The fact that it doesn't do the walls is a trade-off, but if your main headache is stuff that settles on the floor, like leaves, dirt, and small debris, I think it's a strong choice.